Hello, how's everyone doing in the Galactic Family Podcast world tonight? I am going to be going over my new book that was just actually authored, just released on Amazon Kindle. And I'm really excited about this. This is a journey that I've been going through a long time, and I was glad to get a chance to put it down on paper. So without further ado, this is the Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity. Now, welcome, dear soul travelers, to a special metaphysical edition of the Galactic Family Podcast. I'm Jason Albertson, and today I invite you to journey with me beyond the veil into a realm where memory, meaning, and multidimensional intertwine. This is the Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity, a story born not just from imagination, but from deep inner travels guided by light-born beings, ancient wisdom, and the echoes of something far older than time. As I read, allow the images to guide you. Let the sounds, visions, and words awaken something deep within you. You'll meet dragons that speak in symbols, spirit guides cloaked in light, and intelligences that exist beyond our known dimensions. This is more than just a tale. It's a mirror, a calling, a remembrance. Hello, Lady Daniel. How you doing? So breathe deeply, open your heart, and step with me into the golden path of remembrance. The sleeping entity is stirring. Let the journey begin. Now, I'll read it from the very beginning here. All right, this is Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity, a visionary journey beyond the veil by Jason Albertson. About the author. Jason Albertson is a retired U.S. Army sergeant, a decorated Bronze Star recipient with a deep passion for metaphysics, paranormal investigation, and cosmic consciousness. He has spent years exploring the hidden layers of reality as the owner of the Galactic Family Podcast on YouTube, lead field research officer for Project Contact, and section state director with MUFON. Jason dives headfirst into the unknown with both military precision and a mystic's heart. The Sleeping Entity marks my first authored book, a luminous tale bridging spirit realms, astral memory, and the dragon realms of mythic consciousness. Jason continues to inspire others to remember who they truly are and why they came here. This work is not just a story, it's a gateway. The Sleeping Entity by Jason Albertson. For the best shamanic experience, we ask you to experience this approach, everything in this story, with a pure heart, pure mind, and pure intentions. In this chapter, I will teach you how to make contact with the veil and how to travel around in your astral form so that you also may be able to experience the joy I felt being accepted into another plane of existence. This is a learned experience that everyone has the process and the ability to tap into. Now, what I mean by that is, a quick example is everyone's creative portion of the brain is most active when practicing deep meditation. What we perceive as our own thoughts and ideas are actually being pulled out of the thin air from somewhere. This is actually our brains accessing a higher form of information that is available to all living beings in the universe. This takes practice. Now close your eyes and practice slowing your breathing down. Now imagine your entire body is made out of this ever-loving, ever-caring, eternal light energy. Take your light body by first leaving the roof of your house and see everything from the sky as if you were right in front of everything. Once you've mastered this, you move on to the next step. Now, as your light body is floating above your house, it's time to go higher. Picture your light body going higher in the sky. You can now see your city or town below. Now go higher, and you can now see your country below. Congratulations on making it this far. Now take a minute to yourself in this moment. Feel the breeze from the wind. The powerful feeling when the beautiful warm sun hits your skin. We will continue to the last step of true enlightenment. So here in this beautiful unbounded world, we now climb until we reach space. In my family's Wiccan tradition, we go through a rite to become a high priest and to be able to run our own coven if we choose in another state or location. We also, upon completion, be able to access a higher realm of existence called the Draconian Magic Realm. We go into a quiet room by ourselves for 1 week at the same time and meditate with our eyes shut in a seated position with our arms resting on our legs. During this time, we concentrate on the Draconian realm. Took me 3 days of meditation at the same time at night to experience what I can only call a powerful release of my light energy body. I saw myself, and at first I was just floating around above my house and laughing. Man, I was having a lot of fun. But I knew I needed to finish the Wiccan rite. So I concentrated while in this light energetic body about the Draconian realm. Instantly, I was transported to a giant door with guardian spirit guards on either side. And believe me, I will not even say that it took me 2 separate times for having what they said was chaotic energies and still needing to grow mentally. But eventually I was able to enter. What I expected at first, they told me before I entered that what I am attempting is only done by someone who is true in heart, true in soul, and true in body. I entered the doorway and immediately was transferred to some other place. It was a city, almost like New York. So I started walking around to get my bearings. And then I saw where I was. At this moment, I saw this little girl, and she was riding a tricycle down a sidewalk pretty fast, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. She rode straight past me and was going even faster towards the corner of the roadway. At the time I saw that, this huge truck came barreling at the same time around the corner. To my surprise, it wasn't stopping. The truck was picking up speed. I approached the little girl running at that moment. I only had a few seconds to react. So I pushed the little girl out of the way, but I was hit by the truck. The little girl was perfectly fine, but my body was broken up all over. I was in so much pain and agony, but I was so relieved that I saved the little girl's life from being hit by the truck. The little girl ran over to me, my completely broken body on the street, and said, "You've done what many have refused to do. Put someone's life above your own. You have passed the first test, but it will only get harder from now on. Choose to live, or choose to live as light. I woke up with my body in pain, completely aching all over, and I felt just drained all day as if I ran a triathlon. The next night, I meditated again. Except this time, when I approached a huge guarded gate, there was a blinding light, plasma-like shape-shifting creature. The glowing light eventually formed this being of what I can only describe as smelling like a fresh meadow that had just gotten cut on a sunny day. It was blinding but loving and caring. Just an enormous amount of joy was pouring off of this being of beauty. I was filled with immense sensation of fulfillment. The being asked if I wanted to continue with the test. I agreed and began my journey again, walking through this waterfall-looking, flowing energy door, only to be transported somewhere else completely different again. This time, I was in a lush green meadow surrounded by mountains. But there was an entity here, but it was not good at all. All I felt was anger and hatred like no other thing I have felt before in my life. I did not like this being of hatred, so I started to run. And as I ran as fast as I could away from this thing of great evil, it noticed me and started chasing me through this green, lush pasture. But the ground gave way, and I fell into this deep gorge of a hole that appeared in the ground. "I've got you," screamed the entity in a harsh, growling tone. Then I looked up and saw this dark figure, black hooded, with disfigured features, say, "Come with me and live, or stay here and wither and die." I tried all my might to climb up the walls of this hole in the ground with my fingers, digging into the soil with my fingertips. But every time I would get even close to the top of this hole, this being of pure black and evil intentions would be there every time, making sure that I would stay put. I screamed up at the entity and said, "My soul will always be pure and loving. Nothing you say will ever make me choose you." And at that very second, after I screamed this, I found myself staring into the very face of this decrepit creature with their deformed and disfigured body features. At that moment, I thought, here we go again. I'm going to get pushed down this hole. But instead, the entity began shifting, morphing into something human-like. I say human-like because their head was a little bigger than mine. They had long blonde hair. They were tall, huge, like 9 feet tall, with blue eyes and a chiseled-like face with a very small notch slit for a mouth. Smaller ears than me, but he said, "We are all born both of good and evil, and we must make the conscious decision every day to turn away from hate and bitter actions, or be disfigured in mind and body like the tyranny creature you saw before you." He extended his hand out to me, and as I put my hand into his, a burst of eternal peace and tranquility ran over my entire body, like a pure love, an understanding wave of energy. The last night I meditated, I was transported to a giant door, but it was kind of see-through, and it was giant. I could see through this door, waterfall, pure light energy into another space of reality. The dragon guards on either side of the doorway both turned their heads and looked at me and said, "Enter and let your spiritual body be born again in the realm of eternal light." I entered the doorway and was immediately transported into a world I can only describe as ever loving, beautiful waves of static like energy that was felt all around me. I saw light spirits. They looked like flying light like energy jellyfish in the sky, just floating around. I kept walking down this path of light and was standing on the edge of a very huge mountaintop. It was freezing, but no, it wasn't cold at all. I only really felt heat coming out of my body. Then in front of me was another kind of light being, but it was the size of a baseball, pulsing with blue, orange, and a faint dark red light. But as I was standing there, the light of this being was fading very fast, and it faded. And as it faded, the entity or being was slowly floating down to the ground like a leaf of a fallen tree. The entity drew joy and energy as it seemed like out of nowhere. And it just began pulsing in my hands. It said to me that this world is of light, but when your light starts to fade into the nothingness, you release your energy at death to the ether of creation so that your energy can be used for the birth of another. But I wish to stay and learn from you as you learn from me. So I asked the great creator for more time in my short life to get to know you, and he granted my request. This wonderful, bright spirit energy entity was now my friend, a friend I called Rye. After this, I was transported to the great spirit door again, but now Rye was on my right shoulder. Both of the dragon guards looked at me again and smiled, laughed, human. This is our decree, that after so long of waiting, you have proved yourself to be of light, joy, and peace. You are now granted permission to enter the true spirit door. The dragons there had glowing light wings, and they were crossed over the giant doorway as the door of pure light was slowly appearing where their wings had crossed. They said to me, "Enter, human spirit. You have passed all 3 tests and shall now be able to walk in the eternity realm of light." I entered the doorway and was floating through the cosmos with Rye on my right shoulder. She said, "We can go anywhere. Anywhere we want to go. Float, fly, and be anything." So I decided to go back to the giant doorway with Rye and asked the giant dragon-like light beings if I was permitted to enter the realm where I first met Rye. They said that behind us is the door, and in this realm has possibilities, many, infinite, with many realms and other doorways inside, all guarded by different 8-foot top heavy dinosaur entities, some with wings and some without, some friendly and some not. Entering this doorway means no short feat, human. Not many have passed all 3 tests, and even fewer have come back to enter the doorway of the infinite. But you have. So we will allow you now in your spiritual guide ride access into this sacred realm. Go with peace, they said, as I entered the energetic doorway. And so begins the story of the sleeping entity. As I went into deep meditation, I could feel that energy. The energy itself around the entrance to the realm was different this time. Less secret, less guarded. It felt more now like getting a warm hug from a special family member. The dragon guards both looked at me in both astonishment and wonder. At the very moment, I could feel the dragon's thoughts starting to form words in my head. I walked through, now not knowing that Rye was on my right shoulder, and she was right behind me, laughing in excitement for my return. Her thoughts now entered my head, and we could speak without talking. Still strange, I told her from my mind, and she laughed. You'll get used to it. So where do we go from here, Rye? Oh, that's easy. We're headed to the floating wonderland that Master built in the sky. As I looked around, I saw that the path we were standing on light up and start jumping around all over the ground. And man, this was just crazy. I looked over at the wiry path and I reached out my hand to touch it. Shifted around immediately and came to my hand. As I touched it, I felt an electric bolt of energy rush through me. Like ocean waves, Rye laughed even harder this time. Ouch! Well, that was a lot, I laughed. Yay, you accepted the Master's request. I hope that Master's sense of humor with these gifts are different when we arrive, Rye. At that time, I saw the path begin to open and begin to spread all the trees apart that were in its way, as if everything in the environment itself was alive and making a path for us to follow now. Wow, Rye, the Master must be a very important figure to this world. Now, as we're walking down the Master's path, I was looking to my right and left in total amazement. It was all the trees down to the very tiniest blades of grass were alive and very curious of Rye and myself. This one's got a guide, an invitation, I heard one of the older trees say. What did they mean by that, Rye? Don't worry too much about it. You are protected on this path. It's the Master's second gift to you for accepting the invitation. Well, that's comforting to know. We continued down the lighted path for what it seemed like days until we came to a small hill in the path. Rye screamed in excitement. Hurry up, Slowpoke. We're finally here. Laughing, I said, well, you can float. Rye, it still requires some energy to float. Rye laughed. Okay. I guess my breather break is over now. Let's continue this great adventure, Rye. Rye's excitement went through the roof as we literally got to the top of the hill. Welcome, Rye said, to the Master's floating city of eternal peace, tranquility, and knowingness. As I got over the top of the hill, I had to put my hands in front of my eyes. Wow, the city was truly floating. It's truly incredible. I then felt this pureness of energy on my body, and it had a profound effect on me and on my place in this universe. Now, Rye, how are we getting up there? Don't worry too much about it. This is the Master's final gift, the final offering to you, to the floating the final gift the master is offering you, floating entry to the Garden of Eden, the city born of eternal light and joy. Rye, definitely going to have to thank your master or the master for these generous gifts. You might get the chance to, hopefully. Now, firstly, close your eyes. Now, fill your heart with love and joy and use that energy to push yourself up to the city. I did as she asked, and when I opened my eyes, I was floating above the trees, shooting towards the city in the sky, while Rye had her whole hand wrapped around my right pointer finger up with me. She yelled with such excitement as we drew a huge crowd from all different kinds of beings before touching down on the outskirts of town. There were all different types of alien-looking creatures, but they were all so intelligent. Most of them looked somewhat human with different skin tones of all colors and sizes. The others were more mantoid and insect-looking creatures, but I didn't feel any ill will from any of them, which was a huge relief. They seemed to be all talking in different languages, but wow, I'm able to understand everything they're saying. This is the human from Earth who saved Rye's very existence in this world. Seems like everyone, no matter their different forms, were truly happy to see both of us. Now Rye said, "You will meet my friends on the way through the city to the Master's Tower." As we continued to walk through the city, everyone was just so eager to meet and talk with us about our adventures. As I walked away from the many entity beings cheering for Rye's return, I noticed that the walkway that we were standing on, it suddenly lit up. It was like staring into a rainbow of so many different colors, but on the walkway itself, to my surprise, it formed on the walkway, "Welcome back, Rye." Oh man, this place is simply amazing, Rye. Rye chuckled. I knew you would love this place. At that moment, an arrow appeared on the walkway with, you know, a voice saying, "Your parents are excitedly awaiting your return. Please follow the arrow." Parents, Rye? Oh, I see you saved the best for last, huh? I'm going to meet your parents now. Wonderful, Rye. I smiled. My parents will be so grateful for the Creator for extending my life. I'm just so glad I can spend this time to get to know you. I wouldn't want anything else other than that. Rye, see that right there? That righteous spirit of yours is what drew me to you. Well, this should be interesting, I thought to myself, as I followed this living arrow back to Rye's childhood home. "Oh, you'll love my parents," Rye said as we approached her house. I was thinking, wow, now that's really interesting. The door to their house looked like a solid block of ice that looks like bolts of electricity of all different colors and variations going through it. I was a little confused though. There was no door handle, not even anything to ring or even let them know that we've arrived. But at that moment, I heard a voice inside say, "Rye, is that you?" "Sure is, Dad. I'm home." The front of the door suddenly became totally translucent, and I could start to make out a figure on the other side. Oh my God, he was huge. Nothing like I thought a fairy would look like. 6 foot, 7 foot tall, with wings that are huge, that were they were beautiful, light blue and fluorescent in color. His head was that of a lizard. No, wow, that of a dragon. I immediately got to my knees and bowed in his presence. No need to do that, human. Please stand. Slowly, I started to raise my back up to an upright position. As Rai's father started talking, you did what no human or anyone has managed to do in over a millennia. You brought my dying daughter back from the eternal soul tree, and for that, you may ask anything you wish from me, human. Well, my only wish, sir, is for your permission to get to know Rai, your daughter, and this beautiful world that you call your home. Rai's father immediately started laughing. Now I truly see what you saw in this human, Rai. He truly is a pure soul. It's no wonder you were able to find the guarded dragon realm door so easily. Human, you may call me Reich. Your name has been chosen by me, and from this day forward, you will be known throughout this world as Draconi, savior of Rai, and friend of the dragon kin. Draconi, please step through the doorway slowly so the door can scan your unique DNA sequence. This will give you access to all the rooms and the different functions of the house with your own personal thought projection. I went through the translucent light door and I could hear faint humming noise, and also had the feeling of an electric charge going through my body, but didn't hurt, not in the slightest. As I entered, Reich said, "There, Draconi, all done. The house also has a think room that you are more than welcome to use. In this house, this house takes your thoughts patterns and uses that specific thought pattern to create anything you would like. Well, almost anything. Just make sure it's not bigger than the room or you're going to be in trouble." Well, stop standing there, Rai. Get in here. Your mother's waiting for you, Rai. Rai flew past me in great excitement, yelling, "Mom, I'm back!" But at that moment, Reich's crystalline home parted like rippling glass. I felt a rush of warm air charge from the scent of and the hum of ancient magic. As I stepped forward, there were unfolding before us was a phenomenon of unimaginable wonder. We stepped through this parted portal, and towering mountains glistened with emerald forests and rivers of liquid sapphires. Nestled among their peaks were glowing temples, carved not by tools, but by time and spirit, crowned with blazing dragon fire. This was the Dragon Kingdom. The air vibrated with presence. Each breath tasted like stardust and storm. Above us, Dragons of every element danced across the skies. Some shimmered like northern lights, while others burned with an intensity that distorted the air. There were thunder drakes, wind serpents, stone-scaled leviathans, and translucent spirit worms whose bodies refracted the sun into a rainbow. Could feel all their eyes on me. Not in suspicion, but curiosity. I was no longer an outsider. I was becoming something new. Reich walked beside us, his massive wings folding behind his back with grace. Draconi, he said in a voice like drum, echoing. You walk now on sacred ground. Few have come here, fewer still have been invited. As we journeyed deeper into the valley, the energy of the land wrapped around us like an embrace. The very ground pulsed beneath our feet. Trees just whispered to each other. Their leaves with shimmering symbols that vanished when you just stared too long at them. The wind carried distant hums, sung by invisible voices, their melodies harmonizing with the rhythm of my own heartbeat. We crossed a crystal bridge that arched over a glowing river. The water was not water at all. It was energy flowing like light through a prism. Rye reached out, touched it, and in the ripples I saw visions of dragon hatchlings of ancient wars fought with thought and fire, and of the rise and fall of countless civilizations. This river wasn't a river at all. It was memory itself. Eventually, we came to the council hall, a vast pyramid formed entirely of amethyst that pulsed with a heartbeat of its own. Carved dragons spiraled in its edges, each representing an elemental guardian. Fire, water, earth, air, light, and void. A deep voice echoed from across the courtyard as we approached. Human-born spirit, it toned. You carry in you a flame long forgotten, a light cast in the darkness. Come forward. An enormous being stepped from the shadows, the elder dragon of light, glowing with the intensity of a newborn star descending from his perch. His wings shimmered like glass, catching the first light of the dawn. You are not here by accident, Draconi, he continued. You hold within you the memory, a key buried in the marrow of all living things. The spiral tower awaits. Its truth will weigh you, shape you. And if your spirit endures, it will reveal your purpose. Right, gripped my arm. Her energy trembled, not with fear, but awe. I nodded. And with another word, the council turned their gaze skyward. There, high on a floating peak, wrapped in its rings of golden runes and drifting stardust stood the spiral tower. The chamber beyond the summit was vast, suspended in a dome of stars. There was no floor beneath us, just a swirling swirl of constellations, moving as if it was stirred just by my thoughts. At the center hovered two colossal guardian dragons, not of body, but of truth. They were unlike any I had seen. Their scales shimmered with shifting auras, alive with the memory of creation itself. One was silver, threaded with blue fire, and the other gold, laced with radiant darkness. Their wings moved as slowly as galaxies, and their presence bent time itself. I felt the pressure of infinity settle into my bones. Without opening their mouths, they spoke directly into my consciousness. You seek the master, the silver dragon intoned, his voice resonating like the toll of a bell struck in eternity. But before the ancient light may grant you, or may greet you, said the golden one, you must first answer, not with words, but with your soul. Then the questions came, not asked, but revealed. Do you understand the price of knowledge? Will you share what you have learned without ego? Can you love without ownership? Do you carry peace in the face of chaos? Will you return home, even if home will no longer understand you? With every answer I gave, through memory, emotion, and radiant silence, they listened. I did not speak with language, but with essence. And when I finished, they bowed their heads, their great light being dragon heads. Then proceed, Draconi. The master awaits you. The stardust field parted. The final veil opened. A presence stirred beyond. It's a light older than creation itself. Now it's time to meet the master. As I stepped beyond the final veil, the cosmos itself seemed to inhale. There was no floor, no sky, no direction, only infinite space, blooming in the slow spirals of consciousness. I wasn't in a place. I was inside a presence, a field of awareness so vast and so intimate that my very thoughts slowed to reverent silence. Then he appeared. The master, not a being in any traditional sense, but a radiant form shaped like a dragon, woven from stardust and memory. Entire galaxies coiled across his wings, nebulas flickered in his breath. His body stretched beyond dimensions, and yet he looked directly into me. You have come far, child of Earth. His voice resonated. not through air, but through my soul. I trembled. I don't understand why I was chosen, I whispered, barely able to speak in the weightless gravity of his eternal truth. Because your world dreams, but it also forgets. And you, Draconi, you remember. The master raised one massive claw and gently touched the center of my chest. A brilliant surge through me, not painful, but not blinding, but so profoundly familiar that I gasped. It was the first light, the one from before birth, the one that existed before my name. You must return, the master said. You are not meant to remain in this realm. You are a bridge now between what is forgotten and what is and shall be remembered. I closed my eyes and saw the earth spinning quietly in the dark, saw people waking from long spiritual winters, and saw the faces of those I would help, some I'd meet, and some I never would. But what if I'm not strong enough? I asked. The master's great wings slowly unfolded, filling all of creation. You are not asked to be strong, he said gently. You are only asked to be present. You are only asked to be present. The rest will unfold as it should. He began to withdraw, his light dissolving into the fabric of the stars. But just before I turned to leave, his voice reached me once more, a soft echo etched into forever. Draconi, should the need ever arise again, I will send someone for you. The doorway shimmered behind me, like a dream dissolving into dawn. I stood behind Rye once more, hand in hand, facing the true spirit door, the same luminous threshold where my journey first began. Beyond it, the realm of dragons pulsed with energy, a living memory that would never leave me. The air was scented with warm crystal wind and drifting stardust. Rye's eyes met mine. A sadness swimming beneath her smile. This world will always carry your echo, she said, and I will always be near. Just call my name in light. I could barely respond. My voice caught in my throat instead. But instead, I placed my forehead to hers, and in that silent moment entered galaxies of meaning passed between us. Then I turned and stepped through the veil. A rush of stillness washed over me like a dark, glooming shadow. A descent not through space, but through perception. The feeling of weight returned, skin, my breath, my heartbeat. The textures of earth settled around me like a coat that I had once forgotten how to wear. My eyes opened. I was in my room again. The ceiling above me glowed faintly with the morning sun. Shadows of trees danced along the wall. Outside, birds welcomed the day with song. Yet, everything had changed. The air shimmered just faintly as if the veil hadn't entirely closed. My hands tingled with memory. The spiral tower, the dragon kingdom, rise laughter echoing through the timeless skies. I reached up and touched my chest, and I could feel it still. The light. The presence. The truth. I was not who I had been. I had returned not as a man who had traveled somewhere strange, but as a bridge between worlds. I now carry the door within me now. Though no one in this world would see it, I knew if I listened deeply enough, I would always hear the river of memory flowing beneath the surface of things. I stood by the window and watched the wind ripple the trees. A young deer stepped slowly into the yard and looked at me. Didn't run, just stared at me as if it knew. Then, in that soft, neither external nor imagined, I felt her again, and I felt him, the master. A voice that echoed not into the air, but into my very soul. Draconi, your light now belongs to both worlds. But should the need ever rise again, I will send someone for you. I closed my eyes. I didn't cry. I simply smiled and whispered back to the stars, to Rai, to the dragons, and to the sleeping earth. I will be ready. And now I will close this off. That was my authored book, the first one that I have authored. It's called Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity. It can be found on Amazon on, let me get it here. It can be found on, yes, the Amazon Kindle, and it is on the Kindle Direct Publishing, and it is called Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity by Jason Albertson. Now, I will tell you guys it's only right now, it's only the words that are in there. So as soon as, if you give me about a month, I will have the picture edition available. So just wait about a month, and then you would be able to purchase the paperback or the hardback book with pictures that will be in each chapter, each section. But this was a preview of the pictures that will be in the book as well. They're not the solid pictures that will be in the book. So when everybody actually gets the book, hopefully in about a month, when you guys will hopefully like to read it, I will be having more pictures that are toned down to the chapters, and it'll be a read-along story-like book that I would love for you guys to come along with me and enjoy it, because it is something that has profoundly changed me in ways that, well, you'll have to see. You'll have to read the next book. I'm starting now. Chronicles of the Sleeping Entity 2. Return to the Dragon Kingdom. And that one is just started. I just started writing it today. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching and listening to me and my story and the new book that I had authored. And I look forward to everyone's comments and what they feel about the book and how I did, how it sounded. Thank you, Galactic Family. And as always, I love you guys. Have a good night. And much respect for all of you.